My next guest says the Turkish operation in Syria could last several months. Hassan Hassan is the director of the Non-State Actors Program at the Center for Global Policy. He's also co-author of ISIS Inside the Army of Terror. Thanks for being with us. Your first impressions of what we saw today, and were you able to hear my interview with the SDF spokesperson, Kino Gabriel?
I heard some of it.
Right. Well, essentially, I asked him whether or not, and he couldn't provide an answer, but whether or not SDF fighters on the ground asked for help from the U.S. military, and that help was denied. These are reports that are floating around. What are your impressions of this first day as this Turkish operation starts in earnest?
Well, I think Turkey got a green light from the United States, so that's out of the question for the United States to stand against Turkey. I think whether the SDF is trying to get help from the U.S. or not, that's almost too late now. What's happening today from in the initial phase seems to be that just Turkey is trying to plant its flag in the northern Syria, probably before Trump changes his mind. What's happening now is really random, almost random strikes in much of northern Syria. Seems like just Turkey trying to say we're already started our operation. I think the next stage of trying to send troops will probably start tonight or in the coming days.
Right, in the night hours potentially. Now, once you send ground troops, this is a completely different game, of course, on the ground. And you predict that this could take months. And not just that, but that it could be very bloody, very deadly, and very messy, because even though it's a mismatched fight, SDF fighters have been at it for many years. They're not willing to go down without a fight. So this could be a terribly deadly operation.
I do think this will continue to in different stages for several months. It's not going to be just one takeover. I don't think there will be kind of this. The Kurds are going to put off a fierce fight against Turkey. I think Turkey is going to choose where it's going to send its forces first. So they're going to probably go to Arab majority areas. They're going to rely on ground forces. They're going to bomb until they kind of carve out some presence for them in some of these areas, and then hope that Kurdish population will probably leave the area or retreat into the SDF areas south of that zone that Turkey is trying to do.
Right. But in the middle of all this, as is so often the case, civilians are present in these areas, some of them relocated and displaced from other parts of Syria. What happens to them?
Well, they're going to have to, run either north into Turkey, but most likely into places like Raqqa and Hasaka. They're going to be the biggest losers in this fight. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be. We've seen that already. So this is not like the first time Turkey intervenes in Syria. It has done it before in the northwest and northern Syria. So we already have precedents for how Turkey conducts such attacks and the cost, the civilian cost of these attacks. Usually they don't actually try to take over areas town by town, or they send troops to fight from street to street. What they're trying to do is basically trying to move very quickly, mark their territory, and then station themselves there. And I think that's their tactic they're going to use in northeastern Syria.
But this whole objective of a buffer zone, hundreds of miles wide, 20 miles deep, I mean, this is not realistic, is it?
Well, I think it's, from a Turkish point of view, this is very realistic. In fact, the alternative to that is unthinkable for Turkey, if you want to think about it from a Turkish point of view.
But how do you police this, Hassan? I mean, how do you police and control an area this wide?
Exactly. This is one of the unknowns, the dangers, probably the most dangerous unknowns of this operation. It's going to open new doors. Nobody knows what's going to happen next. Nobody even thought about what's going to happen next. This is really Turkey blinded or informed, let's say, by this idea that they have to step in and destroy the stateless, this kind of Kurdish idea that has been there. So that's their priority. That's what they're trying to do. What's going to happen next is really something for another day, for them and for the United States, for everyone. Nobody knows what's going to happen beyond Turkey marking that territory as their zone in that part of Syria.
Hassan Hassan, thanks very much as always for joining us.